Alright guys, that was the sound test for the Plume65, which is a gorgeous sounding board. But right now we're going to talk about a few things as per the norm now with what we're doing with this particular segment, and that is the build process, the sound profile, as well as some of my other final thoughts. Alright, so let's talk about the build process first and foremost. So I guess the only bit of this build that might seem scary to some people is how the backplate mounts onto this, and that is actually just done by 2 screws that you guys can find beneath the, I guess, the left and right most of the keyboard, and that's done after you assemble the PCB in with the plate and all that kind of good stuff. Other than that, it is a breeze. It is about 8 screws on the back, as well as the 2 screws for the back weight, and then your top mounting screws. So one very, very important thing to note is this is a top mount build, meaning this screws onto the top frame. Now the kit comes with 2 ways that you can mount this. Now this is done by using O-rings via a burger mount system, which means that you use an O-ring, then you place down your plate in PCB, and then you place another O-ring and then screw that on. Or you can just do this via your traditional top mount, which means you just put the PCB in plate, you screw the plate down to the top, and then you're good to go. Now, with a burger mount system, it creates actually more of a soft typing experience, and that's because of the O-rings being able to flex up and down. With a traditional top mount system, it's a bit more rigid. Both are great. In this particular case, they both feel fantastic. In terms of sound profile, I actually thought that this would be a bit different if we go with a burger mount versus the traditional top mount. I thought on stream that we did together that this was actually a little bit softer sounding when we actually installed the burger mount system. However, after me trying it back and forth, I actually took this apart again and did it without the burger mount. I have the burger mount back in just because I like the typing experience. There's actually not much of a sound difference. We're going to be trying that again when we get our second prototype in. We're going to be trying just through the top plate, and we'll do an A/B comparison of both keyboards side by side. But for right now, there isn't too much of a sound difference. The big difference is in the typing experience. Now, we're going to get into the sound profile, which again, I think is everyone's favorite. And you guys heard the sound profile on this. It sounds fantastic, and I absolutely love this keyboard. It feels great, it looks great. The spacebar sound in it just thocks. Everything about this is fantastic. We did use Tealios in these, and I feel like with a JWK switch, which we will try eventually, this will sound even better. But right now, this is a gorgeous sounding keyboard, and honestly, probably one of the better ones in my collection at the moment. Now, some other thoughts that I wanted to kind of address and go over was the quality. This will be a smaller group buy. I was told by Alex of Plume Keyboards that this is going to be very, very highly quality controlled. And you can even see that in the prototype. And the prototype is gorgeous in every way possible. The engraving here for Plume on the back weight is gorgeous. It even has a little plume feather engraved here on the back as well, which I thought was such a nice touch. There's absolutely no case gap, which is gorgeous too, which does help with everything about this keyboard, including assembly. And the USB-C cutout is fantastic. It is super clean with no weird gaps or oddities, making this a beautiful and gorgeous keyboard. Now, one thing that I want to note about the prototype, and I don't know if this was going to be done in the final rendition of things, I have to double check with Plume. I believe there will be a clear coat that goes on the brass weights of some of these for any of the people who get brass rather than the stainless steel. If you guys don't end up getting clear coats, it does patina the brass, so this is kind of what happens to brass when it patinas. I think this gives it a lot of character. This is the Noxary brass weight. I really, really enjoy this. I think this looks absolutely stunning on keyboards. It gives it a lot of character and just adds a lot of texture to the brass. But some people don't like this, and I do believe the conversation I had with Plume, he was going to clear coat these. One other thing to note about the quality of the keyboard, this is actually laser etched opposed to screen printed, so this should last a lot longer, being this little Plume logo at the top right. And a final note about the keyboard, it is just so gorgeous. It sounds even better. It hits all the right spots for me, and this is definitely a contender for my top keyboard of the year. I think this, the Key 65 and the Think 6.5 V2 are pretty much neck and neck. This is kind of inching ahead though, I will have to admit. It is a gorgeous board, and I'm excited to try building another one soon. We have a red one coming in, which apparently is really beautiful, guys. So hopefully that comes in with the next week or two, and we'll build that live on Twitch. We'll probably put something like H1s or vintage blacks inside there. Otherwise, guys, gorgeous keyboard. I'm super excited. If you guys got into the group buy for this, congratulations again. And that's really it, guys. See ya.